Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's already time for another daily dose of dismal Disney.
And a daily dose of I told you so.
Yeah, we tend to do that a lot.
Yeah, because we called it completely, just like we said if you watched our other video.
Yeah, so we're going to do a follow-up to the quote-unquote, and I'm using finger quotes here, the quote-unquote don't say gay bill in Florida situation with Disney. Now, Disney's been getting a lot of pushback. I'm going to use that term loosely. Getting a lot of pushback from employees in the media for financially supporting sponsors of this bill.
But they also supported the people who voted against it.
Yes, they did. It's very complicated. But anyway, we told you the other day that there was a walkout plan, that they were going to do walkouts, and they had a list of demands. And some of the demands didn't make a lot of sense at the time. They were like, hey, we don't want to move to Florida. Nobody wants to move to Florida from California. They shouldn't be forced to move to Florida. And it's like, okay, that kind of came out of left field, because we're talking about, not giving money to certain politicians.
Well, we even said in the one video, we were talking about the Pixar thing, and they were complaining about Pixar employees saying that they cut out, representation.
Yeah.
And we said, well, why the California demand sounding like Pixar, and about the representation, and then about the moving? And the things that didn't sound like that was California were things that Bob Chapek already addressed, and he already publicly, said they were changing this. They weren't giving money to these people. We're going to increase our donations. He already said all of that. This came out after he already made all those comments. So the demands didn't make sense when he already agreed to a lot of this, except we had this stuff thrown in.
Yeah, so basically, this situation with this bill is being used by Disney employees in California to get out of going to Florida. And it has come out via the Wrap today that there are many California employees who do not want to relocate. Now, we've talked about this before. Disney said they're going to move a lot of their operations to Florida.
Right.
Part of it's tax breaks. And part of it, a big part of it, is that Florida did not shut down to the extent California did.
Right.
If Disney World was in another state that did shut down, Disney would be completely screwed. It was Disney World being able to stay open in Florida throughout most of the pandemic that helped them, compared to Disneyland in California that was shut down for, what, a year? Almost a year?
And the move is going to a new complex they've already spent millions on. They bought the land. They have somebody working on it in Lake Nona, which is nearby, like the Orlando airport, I believe. Anyway, they're putting this big campus in to move Imagineers there, which makes more sense because, you need Imagineers in Disneyland, but most of the work is being done in Walt Disney World. Like the Disney cruise lines and stuff usually launch from Florida. So it makes more sense to have the Imagineers in Florida, or a bigger group of them, than it does in California at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know what to tell you. It's interesting. We're going to read this article. It's interesting some of the names are bringing up, because some of the people that they're saying quit Disney over the proposed move to Florida include like Joe Rohde, who quit like 2 years ago.
Yeah, because that
before
was before it was announced. Now, the one other person they mentioned, I do have him in my article, and he had said he quit because he didn't want to move. So people were already quitting because they didn't want to move, and now and then the article we're going to talk about, they admit that they were deliberately just hanging in there and saying they were going to go along with it, but totally planned not to go along with it, trying to find a reason. They've been looking for a reason to leverage it, and now here they go. Yeah,
so they're gonna tie it into this bill when I really don't think that is the main reason.
That's kind of shitty to the people in the legitimate people in the community.
It is. It's like, we're gonna use you and use your outrage over this situation to make sure I don't have to move, because I like my house and I like my lifestyle and I like California. And here's the thing. I mean, companies do this all the time. I mean, there was a situation with the AV Club where they were moving operations to California because they owned the company, and they're moving the company to California. And the people in Chicago, I think it was Chicago, were very, very angry that they were doing that. But I'm like, they own the company. They're giving you the option to go. Like, you get to keep your job. They're not firing you. And the same thing happened with DC Comics when they went to California. They're like, you all can come live in California, we'll pay for you to move.
Right.
And all, but
And when we're to look at this more, they were given a good deal to if they don't want to go. They were going to lose their job, but they were giving them like severance and different things like that too. So it wasn't like they're going to be leaving them without anything.
Yeah.
But before we get into it any further, but it's kind of too late.
Yeah. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Over 261,000 subs. We do talk a lot about Disney, Disney parks, Disney animation, having worked in and around the company for a number of years and kind of being on the outs with them now. That's okay. That's okay. We can live. A lot of people are on the outs with Disney.
Yeah, we did it before it was cool.
A lot of people who used to attack us for saying negative things about the Walt Disney Company are keeping their mouths shut now during this situation. And no, none of them are coming forward and offering us an apology.
No, of course not.
But we've talked about Disney before, that they need to keep their nose out of politics. This is exactly why.
Right. This is exactly, it's all coming to fruition. Like we said, it was going to all come to be. And this rap article, it's interesting. We're going to look at it here. One thing that's interesting is they have how many different headlines for this article?
Yeah, there are multiple headlines for the article. And I've got some here. This is the original. The original was the creative team, which includes a major LGBTQ community, have been instructed to move to Florida, retire, or quit.
Which was,
the Don't Say Gay blow up, and then this is the latest version.
Oh, and they're exclusive that we actually had the same thing on our video days ago, but whatever.
That's okay.
Good job, Rap.
They're the Rap. We wondered. We thought it was weird with the demands.
The demands were weird because they had these things about like don't give to these candidates. Okay, well, he already said he wasn't going to give to them anymore.
Right.
And they said increase support for advocacy groups, which he already said that he was going to do. Commit to an actionable plan that protects employees from hateful legislation. He said they were going to re-examine that stuff. He's already working on that. He already said he was going to do that. Then they go on about stop construction and investment in Florida. Because if you stop construction and investment in Florida, Imagineers don't have to move there.
That's what this is really about. I mean,
yes.
I'm not saying people aren't outraged about the bill. People absolutely are outraged about the bill. People are outraged about everything, right? What I'm saying is the real gist of this is that there are California Disney employees that are using the situation. They were just waiting for a reason to not move to Florida.
Right. We're going to talk about that in the Rap article.
Yeah.
So they're leveraging this. So do I think that there's people in the community that are Imagineers? Yes. But statistically speaking, it's probably not a large number of them. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. And you have everybody jumping behind this to support it, not because they actually support the LGBTQIA plus community. It's because they don't want to damn move, which is kind of shitty because you're kind of using people to get your own way.
Yeah, it's exactly what that is.
And they're leveraging it publicly by trying to bully Disney and Chapek into giving them what they want by saying, well, you're a shitty person if you don't agree with this. You must be phobic and total assholes. And we're going to drag you through all the media and public because you're being against us if you don't, agree to our demands, which is even more shitty.
Yeah, because I'm sitting there thinking, it's like, yeah, you're going to get like some 60-year-old married straight dude that's going to be like, I really don't want to move to Florida. Oh, hey, yeah, gay rights.
I'm one of the allies.
I'm one of the allies now. I don't want to move.
And it's very disingenuous. And then, but then again, Disney kind of, karma's a bitch there, Disney, because the Splash Mountain retheme, it was rumored forever to be about Princess and the Frog. Everybody knew that's what you were trying to do. And every time you brought it up, people got mad and you didn't do it because it caused too much backlash. So you waited until Black Lives Matter was trending. And then you announced it then because you knew people couldn't fight you on it or they'd look like istophobes. So it's kind of karma in a way.
Yeah, again, this is what happens. Disney has spent the last couple of years especially pandering very hard to the left side of the aisle, and that's because of Bob Iger. Bob Iger wanted to run for office. He
wanted an ambassadorship in China.
Yeah, and there were talks that he was going to run for the White House.
Yes.
Yeah. So he's been trying very hard to play to one side of the aisle, and he's been, again, talking about using the company. Bob Iger has been using the Walt Disney Company as his own platform for
politics
years. It ran up all the credit cards, on the way out.
Yeah, pretty much ran them up. So here's what it says. I'm going to start up here, actually. In the wake of the controversy at Disney over its response to Don't Say Gay bill, which is not even the name of the bill. It's what the media keeps spinning it as. It doesn't actually even say that in the bill. A group of Imagineers, the legendary creative team behind theme parks, attractions, cruise ships, and retail outposts, that most of this stuff is going on in Florida. Okay.
Yeah, I always thought it was weird that
have asked, embattled CEO Bob Chapek to reverse a decision to move the entire division to Florida. It's like 2,000 jobs. A move they consider unreasonable given what they have called the state's hateful legislation. A group of Imagineers, a small group of Imagineers, are mad because of hateful legislation. They don't have to move. They were already told they could quit. That's fine.
You know, my thing is like, if I were going to Florida all the time anyway, and I work for Disney and I was parked in Florida because that's where most of the expansion is going on, wouldn't it be easier to just move to Florida? Like, you don't have to agree with the state's politics, but it'd be a lot easier to just, you know, have a house there and just drive to work. Especially if you're going to work on an expansion that's going to take, 3 to 5 years or whatever. I know that's what happened with Epcot. They moved a lot of the people to Florida to work on Epcot.
Yeah, a lot of them are already there. I mean, they don't do much in California, not to the level they were. It's mostly in Walt Disney World. It's overseas. It's over on the cruise line, which is based out of Florida. Yeah. It makes the most sense.
In an open letter to Disney leadership this week, LGBTQ plus activists.
I love how it's IA sometimes and just plus.
I don't know.
I don't understand what the different when you use the different ones.
Why don't we just say not straight? That'd be so much easier.
Pretty much.
Not straight.
Not straight, not cis, not whatever.
Activists inside the company announced plans. A handful of them announced plans for a number of walkouts and also demanded that the company stand down from the planned move of the division to Florida. That is not going to happen after the state passed legislation barring schools from discussing sexual orientation or gender identity.
What's pretty funny? Some of the people that are demanding this probably don't even have kids in school.
Yeah, probably.
You know what?
Probably.
And it's like, they're just like, we're allies. Yeah, they're allies now because you don't want to move.
The letter demanded that Disney cease any efforts to move employees to Florida office locations, guaranteeing no employee will be terminated when denying relocation to Florida.
This is the biggest load of shit.
We mentioned this in the other video. Like, this is not going to fly. Companies
you don't have to go.
No, companies have a right to relocate. And they usually, depending on your contract or your situation, they try to make it as fair as possible. But there are some states, Pennsylvania is one of them, where you literally can be terminated for any reason. They don't have to give you a reason. Just, you know what? You showed up one day and your hair wasn't combed and I don't like you. I don't like your face anymore. I don't want to see you.
They can pin it on any other thing.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen is they'll just start finding reasons to get rid of people.
Yeah, they'll find other reasons.
Here, the requirement to move, retire, quit has decimated the ranks of Disney's storied creatives.
Wrong.
I know that's wrong.
I'm going to stop right there. No, what has decimated the ranks of Disney's storied creatives is Disney itself. People have been leaving Disney for years. We have done multiple videos on some of the greatest Disney animators and storytellers going to Skydance, going to Netflix, going any place but Disney, and they've actually come out and complained about how stifling Disney is. All they want to do is create cash cow franchises, and they can't really tell the stories they want to tell. When you've got the best animators on the planet leaving Disney, like Disney used to be the place they all went to, and they're all leaving Disney and going someplace else, taking a chance on streaming or whatever. And in some cases, they got gone anyway because Disney would cut them, but a lot of them are leaving on their own, had nothing to do with moving to Florida. They're not moving animation to Florida. They're leaving on their own. So this is
about
wrong.
Imagineering in general.
Imagineering,
now, I do know when they announced that they were moving people did quit. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Several told the Wrap that the Imagineers team, which they said numbered in as many as 1,800 before the pandemic, has been reduced to more than half since last fall as a result of the relocation decision. I also can tell you that there is a number of Imagineers that are already in Florida, and there's a lot of people who would love to be Imagineers. So
there were cutbacks. This is not true. Look,
yes and no. It
yes
is
and no.
From a certain point of view.
A lot of Imagineers got laid off because of the pandemic, because they canceled a lot of projects that they were working on. And they were downsizing, and Bob Chapek came in and just started consolidating and cutting and slicing and dicing. So what they're doing is they're basically like, well, anyone who's left Disney for any reason in the last 5 years, they're leaving over this bill that was just introduced this year.
Right. Or this moving thing.
Yeah.
So they said, Disney spokesperson told the Wrap, we understand relocating is always a big decision and a deeply personal one. And we have been committed to approaching this project and all who are impacted with the utmost care and compassion. The executive said, not all decisions have been made around the move to Florida, and the vast majority of senior leaders have already committed to moving with relocations taking place over the next several years. And they said that when they talked to the Imagineers, because this was all announced last summer, which is true. It was rumored for a while, and then it came out that was the case. They said that employees had to move to Florida in the next 18 months, which would put the deadline as early as 2023. The move to Florida has been rolling roiling the Imagineering division since it was first announced true. And edicts were handed down from corporate offices in September. I know a lot of people left in October. Imagineers and other members of the Disney Parks Experiences and Products umbrella, which includes publishing, consumer products, shop, Disney, and games, were given just 90 days to decide whether they'd want to move to Florida. That's likely true. Imagineers could refuse the transfer and lose their job at some time in the future. Okay, so you can say, I'm not going, but when we have to move at the very last minute, I know I'm going to be out of a job. With severance, or they could quit, or they could agree to move to Florida. More than one Imagineer told The Wrap that many people agreed to stay without actual intention of moving. Joe Rohde, he left in January before they even announced this.
He went to work for, what was it, Virgin Space
yeah.
or something, and I think that's in, I want to say, is it Texas? I don't know.
I don't know, and then Kevin Lively, which I know left because I have it in my article. I have here his tweets, which were from October 13th. So I knew that he had already left. They said that they chose to leave when given the 90-day ultimatum. Okay, but that 90 days has been up for a long time. So here's what they said. They're saying it's because of the $580 million tax break by Florida. I know California was taxing people so hard they were all leaving. But it's also because, like Neon said, they could stay open in Florida.
Yes.
They couldn't stay open in California.
Do these people not understand? Like, you would not have your job, a lot of you, at Disney currently.
At Disneyland, for sure.
At Disneyland, for sure. Disney World was paying the salaries of Disneyland employees. Disneyland was shut down for a year. It was money from Walt Disney World that they were paying your salaries with.
Mm-hmm. And Disney Plus.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, you guys wouldn't have your jobs as long as you had them if it wasn't for Disney World being able to stay open.
And then they're going on. The Imagineers include a significant number of LGBTQ plus individuals. What's a significant number? Define the significant number in relation to the number of the rest. You're not doing that.
I don't think there are as many. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people that are unhappy with the bill, but I don't think it's as many as they're claiming, because they even said in the walkouts they were going to do a couple of test runs
to see if they had enough people
on their paid breaks to see if they had enough people to warrant actually walking out.
Mm-hmm. So it can't be a huge number. Okay?
No, if it was thousands, it'd be like, yeah, we got this.
They're talking about, it's about this. We shouldn't move to Florida because it's not because of attrition. We're losing a lot of talent. Yeah, who's a leading Imagineer who's gay and declined to be identified. And then there's another person. I would love for Bob Chapek to see this as a chance to come out and reverse something that this is his discretion, but it's one where he would get a lot of credit for backtracking on a business decision to Florida. But it makes more sense, in a lot of ways to send Imagineering to Florida. And to talk about the new complex and all that and stuff. But they had a thing in here where they were saying that people were actually saying they were going to stay.
And then, no intention of actually moving.
Yeah, that they were gonna stay and had no intention of actually moving, but they just said they were going to stay until the end, and then oopsie, I guess I'm quitting. So they were looking for a way to leverage Disney to try to change the reverse course, and they're jumping on this, which is a bill for Florida, to try to say that Disney shouldn't send their Imagineering and some of their other divisions that are related to Imagineering to Florida. Staying
until the very end, even though they have no intention of following through. It's kind of like the vaccine mandates. Mm-hmm. Like you're gonna have to fire me because I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, and then they didn't, and they turned out and they're rolling them back because it turned out when they had to release all the documents about all the shit, then they're like, oh crap, and then suddenly it went away. I'm just saying. Now it's all about the Ukraine.
It's COVID. Was that a thing? I don't remember. So it's like, I'm just saying this is nothing new. This has been going on for a while. I get that Disney has been in California for decades. Pretty much since its inception, it's been in California, but, it is a company decision. It's not your company. You can go someplace else.
Yeah, but they've had offices over at Disney World that they've had Imagineering over there for a long time because they keep adding all this stuff to Disney World.
Joe Rohde was in Florida for a while because he was working on Animal Kingdom and Avatar.
Yeah, jump to a different park. Go to Universal or something.
I think a lot of people might, but even Universal, I'm not 100% sure, but I think they have more creative people in Florida than they do in California.
I don't know, but I know there's a lot that they're more diversity friendly, I think, in Universal too. Yeah. But here's the thing: it's just like you're located in California. You're right by LA. there's tons of jobs in the film industry that probably, you know, if you do like design, like for stuff products, there's all kinds of companies there. There's lots of other jobs you can go do. So I've always wanted to be an Imagineer. Well, yeah, I get that, because I used to want to be an Imagineer too, but Imagineers have to go where they have to go, and I didn't want to do it because I would have had to go to California. And no offense to those who live in California, I am not a big fan of California. Neon used to live in California.
I did.
I am just not, especially that area. I just don't like it. It's just not for me. And it might be for you, and that's fine. It's just not for me.
Well, I lived in Northern California, which is like it's basically a totally different state. And it's unrecognizable now. I mean, I loved California. I mean, growing up, you know, in the 80s, 90s in the Bay Area, it was cool. And now it's a freaking disgusting, shit-filled, drug-addled,
apparently,
poverty-stricken, dystopian nightmare. From what I've seen.
I mean, some people might be wanting to move from California to Florida. They might be like, you know,
right.
oh,
Disney's
going to help me, you know, do all this stuff. Yeah, hell yeah. I don't know. I just think that they're just, it's a kind of an abuse, because they're trying to leverage the situation now to get their own way. It was very obvious when you read the demands. We were like, oh wait, this is what it's about. And it's kind of shitty because, you know, other than people who legitimately are part of that community, other people are just going to jump on this and be like, oh, I'm an ally, because they don't want to effing move. Yeah. And companies move all the time. And I know it sucks. I am sorry. I get it. I truly do. But, you know, leveraging this to try not to have to move from a job that has been going on for months, and now suddenly it's a problem, it looks kind of shitty. It really does.
Yeah. Yeah. Now they're saying that what they're afraid of, though, is that they're going to lose Imagineering. That this is because they said a lot of, like 80%, they said 8% of Imagineers are going to be dismissed. That put the number of those remaining below 100. But here's the thing. I don't think Disney, I mean, they're pointing out that, you know, Imagineering has always had LGBTQ plus people in it. Bob Gurr and Tony Baxter, who, you know, I wish he would fix Journey to Imagination. You know, I thought he was in Florida. I thought he was in Florida for a while, but they said that they're afraid they're going to lose Imagineering completely. But I'm like, at this point, I think Imagineering's basically been gutted anyway. I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but look at the newer attractions compared to the stuff that was created, like the Haunted Mansion, like Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, like Pirates of the Caribbean. We've never had anything like that. A lot of the stuff now is just like, it looks like
it's less screens.
A lot of screens. It's like Universal.
Well, the Guardians of the Galaxy looks cool, but I think it's gonna be a lot of screens.
It's gonna be a lot of screens, and coasters and
Tron's
screens.
A copy of the one in Shanghai. So I'm just like, I mean, I get their concern. I'm not saying they don't have valid, you know, they don't have a reason to be worried, especially the way it's been spun in the media. I'm not saying that they don't. But I am saying that it seems like they're just using this situation to try to leverage, you know, what they want, and they're then calling Disney like istophobic and stuff, and being like, you better let Imagineering stay here, or you're phobic. And I think that's like, to what, because it was already going on, and, you know, y'all admitting you were going to stay to the end because you're looking for some Hail Mary pass, and now you're trying to use this one to leverage it in the media, and someone probably went to the Wrap because it's exclusive to try to leverage it in the media.
Well, they said the move to Florida was the final straw in a very contentious couple of years of Disney Imagineering, starting with the COVID pandemic, which led to a historic global shutdown of the parks.
The reason it stayed shut down so long in California, and why people couldn't go back to their working to the office as Imagineers and stuff in California, was because of Gavin Newsom. Disney wanted it open, you know? They wanted you to go back to work. It wasn't their choice to keep you at home.
Oh, we're getting there. He had a tweet, and this is so
ironic.
I
knew about Newsom doing it.
So it was followed by Imagineers being furloughed and many asked to resign. That's why I said before, like,
a lot already left.
They had already left for reasons, you know, that had nothing to do with this.
A lot of people left because they were going to move. Yeah. But that was last October.
But there were people that left, you know, when they were starting to cut back too in Imagineering. They've had cutbacks in Imagineering for a couple of years, especially with the pandemic. They're like, well, we're not going to build this ride, or we're not going to do this thing or whatever. We don't need as many people. This, though, Gavin Newsom, who knifed Disney in the back. Disney thought they had a deal worked out with him that they were going to open the theme parks 4 or 5 months earlier than they actually did. And Disney was completely blindsided by him being like, nah, we're just going to stay shut down.
But the thing is, Disney kind of deserved it too, because they turned around and backed Hollywood to keep him in position of power, because he was going to give the studios a bunch of tax breaks.
So Gavin Newsom, who kept Disneyland shut down for a year. Disney, the door is open to bring those jobs back to California, the state that actually represents the values of your workers.
Of your workers that are complaining.
Yeah, they were complaining. But if you actually cared about those workers, Gavin Newsom, you would have let Disneyland open sooner, and you didn't do that.
You wouldn't have let demand that things be shut down as long as they did and everything else.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like Potter Kettle there, Newsom. Potter Kettle.
Chapek hasn't responded yet. Imagineering is hopeful he will. He's listening. Well, he might be listening, but he's also...
They also spent millions of dollars on this other compound.
Yeah, and they've taken the money, and I think at this point, I think they're probably, if I had to guess, I'd say they're going to go through with the plans they've already announced. And then going forward, I would not be surprised if something was instituted to keep Disney as apolitical as possible, because that's the only way they're going to actually win this thing, because it's getting really messy.
And they're going to lose a lot of Imagineers, but I can tell you for a fact, there are a lot of highly qualified people who are just dying to be Imagineers right now.
That is also true.
It's like comics. You lose a lot of people, but there's a lot of people waiting in the wings.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean,
why are page rates so low in comics? Well, one, the comics don't sell very well, but two, there's so many people that want to draw comics. They're drawing comics for free, or they think that they're gonna, that it's very hard to justify giving people, $500 a page if you've got somebody that'll do it for $100 a page, and it's
that drives down the quality and the amount of money for everyone. But in this case, I guess what gets me is, for those going on and on about morals and values and all that shit, and they turn around and leverage the situation, and they aren't part of the community that would be worried about going there or whatever. That's no better. I mean, that to me is just like really shitty. It's like you're meat shielding your fellow workers so you don't have to move.
Yeah. Anyway, are we going to wrap this one up?
Yep.
No pun intended. Thank you very much for listening, guys. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Check out piratesandprincesses.net for more objective Disney news, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.